Alright, so what's up YouTube? It's the Nice Saint here, back with another video. And this video is going to be about your old life will cost, well, your new life will cost you your old life. And that's something I had to think about. Like, I think about it a lot. Like, you realize how much, like, as people, we hold on to, like, the past. Even though the past doesn't exist, we hold on to it so dearly and so strongly. Because, you know, life is like a constant, it's like a snake shedding its skin. There's always something new coming up. There's always something new happening. There's always, tomorrow is always coming. Tomorrow's always gonna come. Even when you're dead, tomorrow is coming. The future is always ahead of you, coming towards you. And through us clinging and trying to hold on to these physical things, these petty things, we realize that we stay the same. It's like we holding on to a piece of ourselves that's in the past, that's from years ago, even though technically years don't exist neither, but we holding on to that so nearly and dearly. And the thing about it is, it could be negative or positive. Think about like people traumas that they experience. Some people still go through through PTSD and things like that. People literally are still suffering from the same negative trauma that they went through 10 years ago as a child, and then they still experience it day in and day out, and it takes a toll on them. And these people refuse to let it go. Like, they refuse to let it go because it brings some sense of warmth to them. It brings some sense of familiarity to their mind and their body and their spirit. And of course it's not good for them, but it makes them feel like themselves. Like, people have these very rigid ideas of themselves. And that's why, let's say if somebody, what they say, it's like the first 7 years of like a child's life is very important, because let's say if that child develops low self-esteem in that period, it's a hard, unless they get, you know, therapy and they get counseling, they grow in self-awareness and they want to improve that, it's a very high chance they're gonna live through their whole life with that type of mindset of thinking very lowly of themselves. And most people allow themselves to think this way just because this is how they always knew to think like. And this usually get in the way when people are want to improve their home situation or just their situation period. Some people want to do better with their life, but they can't because they holding on to these old beliefs. And it may not, it's more, sometimes it's not even conscious. They not holding on to it consciously, it's subconsciously they are. They still in an environment where people are treating them in that lowly manner. So even if they are trying to break out of thinking like that, they still in an environment with that cause for that low vibrational type of energy to even still be active. Like, people keep defaulting to their old self, to these old beliefs and thoughts. And crazy thing is, it's not even theirs for the first place. It's not theirs in the first place. It's somebody else's that's still operating. It's like it might be like an iPhone 15 still operating off the iOS from fucking iPhone 4. I think that's the perfect way to explain it. And you realize that people are all, so yeah, you realize like, damn, like, for you to even get to where you need to go, you need to really drop a lot of bullshit that you've been holding on to. And this is like for everybody. Like, I think it was a quote I heard somebody say, it's like, you can't accept things if your hands is full. Like, let's say if God's trying to give you something, if your hands is full, you must put down what you already got in your hand to accept what somebody else is giving you. And it's kind of like how it is with, it's kind of like it's like a metaphor for, you can't receive anything new if you are harboring the old. And that could be a multitude of things: feelings, emotions, trauma, pain, like literally it's anything. Like, you can't get that new job you've been looking for if you still holding on to your other one. Like, that's probably a more realistic example of mine. Like me, like, I love, when I have jobs, I get so tied and attached to jobs because, like I said, I'm the jobs have always been about the people. It's never really been about the job, the actual job. I understand that as a young man, I need to work. I need to get off my ass. I need to just work. I need to work and get the skills I need. In my mind, I look at jobs like a stepping stool for where I need to go. So, let's say I was working as a manager. I was working that job, and when I was a manager, I always thought like, okay, well, this manager job is gonna help me with being able to lead better, being able to hold things down without essentially being the leader and having all the responsibility in the sense of knowing what to do if things were to go wrong. So I'm like, all right, well, shit, that's what I did at the job. I had to learn how to be more commanding of people. I had to be like more domineering and telling people what they need to do. Of course, I wasn't working the job and not doing my job as well because I've always been a better worker than a leader, and I'm trying to get past that. I'm trying to be more. I'm learning how to be more of a leader than just a worker because I've always been a good worker. That's always been in me. I've been working since I've been young, so that's always never been a hard thing to do. But that's how I always treated it. I always treated my jobs like, okay, this is what I'm learning. I'm not gonna be here long, but this is what I need to get to X, Y, and Z, and this is what I'm gonna do. But I always felt bad. I always felt sad leaving jobs. I don't like leaving jobs, and I'm like, damn, like, you know, because I think every job I always had left a big impact. So I hate leaving jobs and then they be messed up, and I'm like, and maybe that's me being arrogant to a certain extent, but I mean, it's the facts though. But I had to realize, like, damn, I won't get nowhere. I would literally be living in Groundhog Day if I don't quit this job or if I don't go for what I really want to do. So I had to quit many jobs just because I'm like, dog, I need to. The evolution must keep going. I have to make the next step, and I have to take the next step into what my end goal is. And I know my end goal is becoming a spiritual healer, becoming like a spiritual teacher to a certain extent, a YouTuber, not just about the spiritual stuff, but just anything really. Like, I'm here to blog shit, just to become a multi-millionaire. That's my goal. That's what and if I'm working these regular jobs and allowing myself to stay in these positions, I won't get anywhere. And that's something I had to realize. I'm like, dog, I'm legit limiting myself by being so attached to these places and being attached to my old self and my idea of myself and my identity of myself. And I believe that's why they say labels are bad, because once you label yourself, it's like and it's like typecasting. Like, let's say in the Hollywood industry, like typecasting. Like, let's say Carlton, for example. Carlton, we don't see Carlton around nowhere because he did Carlton so well that they only see him as preppy white boys, and maybe he really got range for real. And let's take it back to the regular. That's why labels are bad. Don't ever label yourself, because labeling yourself is putting yourself in a box. It's putting yourself in a prison that you can't really break up out of, and it's hard to break up out of it. So you must always learn to be fluid. Gotta be like water, like Bruce Lee be saying. You gotta learn to just be like, whatever's happening, that's what I am. Like I said, you just gotta let it be and just, be fluid. Like, literally. Let's say if they put water inside of a cup, the water become the cup. If water is inside like a bowl, the water will take the shape of the bowl, and that's really how you must be. And you cannot allow yourself to become rigid and just solid and just formed in one way. So, yeah, your old life will cost you a new one, man. Like, you just got to. Like, you got to take a chance. You cannot allow yourself to be in the same position forever. I think that's one of my biggest fears, is that like 10 years from now, even though I'm working hard now, so it's not that long, I don't want to still be in the same position. I don't want to still be in my mama's house. I don't want to still be working these dead-end jobs, and I still don't want to be trying my hardest, and lying to myself about what am I really doing, and lying about my effort and all this type of shit. I'm not saying I'm doing that now, but probably a couple months ago, I know I was doing it. That's when I was really slacking. I'm like, I'm tired of slacking. I'm just tired of bullshit. Like, that's really how I feel in my heart. And I just don't want to fuck around 10 years later, because realistically, it's kind of crazy that I'm already 21. I be forgetting I'm 21. Because in my mind, I'm still at home. I still, in my mama house, I still feel like a little kid. So, of course, people may find it weird. Like I said, I still think I'm 18. Of course, I'm not talking to no fucking underage kids. But like I said, I got a girlfriend, but it just feel like I'm still 18. Like, and maybe that's a good thing. Maybe I just feel like I got the youthful energy, and I'm gonna hopefully I can keep that for the rest of my life. But that's the way that I think about it, and I like to think about it like that. So, but yeah, The old life will cost you a new one. You gotta sacrifice the old one for the new one. You gotta sacrifice all those old ways of thinking. You gotta sacrifice all those old ways of living, because the new way of living is going to challenge you to change how you think, how you move, how you live. Like, it's gonna challenge you to break out of those old habits, because the newer habits will establish your future self. So that's my thoughts on that. If y'all like the video, like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see y'all later. Thank you.